This is to all those who've been listening to Old Time Radio that I've been podcasting for 12 years. It's time for you to purchase the Old Time Radio collection now at the lowest prices ever. 500 gigabyte external hard drive chock full of radio shows that we all love. And don't forget the bonuses. Here's my offer. I need everyone who hears my voice to go to oldtimeradiodvd.com to place your order today. With every order, I will include a comprehensive show guide with episode descriptions. Over 1,982 pages. This is truly once-in-a-lifetime deal. Place your order today at oldtimeradiodvd.com. You will be glad you did.
93 AM, National Network Radio. This is BBC Radio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International Rescue are back on Radio 5.
Thunderbirds are go.
Rockfall, rockfall. Reverse back, reverse back.
Eddie Houseman. Hey, Father, he knows us.
Take a look at this. The instruments are picking up earth tremors in the mountains.
What?
But if we go through with this job, we're going to break our cover.
If you weren't blown to bits, you'll be buried alive. Take it easy. He's slipping. We can't hold her. She's going. Get away from there. You kill yourself. The company isn't worth it. Eddie, can you hear me?
Tonight's episode, End of the Road, introduced by Thunderbird's mastermind, Jerry Anderson.
Things aren't always what they seem to be. This is a notion that has always fascinated me and which I've used in all of my series. In Stingray, Agent X20's lounge could be turned into a control room at the touch of a button. Shadow headquarters in UFO was located deep in the bowels of the Earth under a film studio. And in Thunderbirds, the exotic island home of the Traces concealed the nerve center and launch pads of International Rescue. Today's story includes Operation Cover-Up. When any unexpected guests arrived at the island, all traces of Thunderbird operation disappeared at the touch of a button. As a child, I had what might be described as an overactive imagination. I came from an extremely poor family, and we lived in one room at the top of a big house in Kilburn. At this point, the filmmaker in me wants to bring in the violins. But the reason for me telling you this is because I think the lack of material things in my childhood helped to develop my imagination. A cotton reel, for instance, will quickly transform in my mind into a steamroller and become a treasured toy. In today's story, Eddie Houseman is saved by International Rescue. And although he is an old friend of the Traceys, he never finds out that they are International Rescue. For Eddie, things are certainly not what they appear to be, particularly when he gets to the end of the road.
It's clearing. We're through. Bang on schedule.
Great.
Congratulations, Mr. Houseman.
Thanks, boys. There'll be a good bonus for this.
Okay, let's go take a look. Reverse back! Guess it was. Well, let's get back to base.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to Brain's Laboratory. I'm just running through some videotapes of international rescue operations. You just heard the start of what turned out to be a very tricky rescue indeed. We call it the end of the road. And it was just about that for Eddie Hausman, who was trapped in a precariously balanced explosives truck. You see, the Gray and Hausman Construction Company had been contracted to complete a through road in mountainous and jungle-choked terrain. And they were racing against time, trying to complete the work before the start of the monsoon season. Let's go back and join them before the trouble really starts.
Eddie, you did wonders. I never thought you'd get through the mountain this side of the monsoons.
Well, with any luck, we're going to make that date.
Well, Eddie, you played your part. Now I'll play mine. Providing I can get that road finished before the rains, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I guess it's over to you now.
You just go off and enjoy your vacation. And don't worry. Oh, by the way, where are you going to? Anywhere special?
I just, looking up an old friend.
Aircraft approaching the island.
Sounds like it's coming into land. It is coming into land. Operation Cover-Up.
Operation Cover-Up involves putting an everyday front on the Tracy household. It had been designed for just such an emergency. I had rigged up a control panel which hid all trace of the international rescue setup. For example, the large wall pictures of the Tracy boys in uniform were covered by other photographs of them in everyday clothes. All the communications equipment slid into recesses to be replaced by innocent-looking ornaments. Of course, John was advised to use the secret communications channel in the event of a rescue operation call when visitors were on the island.
I wonder who it can be.
Well, whoever it is, I hope they don't stay long.
Yeah, could be kind of awkward if we get an emergency call.
Gentleman to see you, Mr. Tracy. Mr. Eddie Hausman.
Eddie Hausman.
It seemed that Eddie and Tintin had been at school together, and he had stopped off to say hello on his way back to the road camp after his vacation. However, a call from Bob Gray cut short his stay with the Tracys.
According to the weather reports, we're just gonna make it. Rains are due in about 2 days.
Yeah? Now take a look at this. The instruments are picking up earth tremors in the mountains.
What? How bad are they?
Hard to tell. Signals are faint, but that doesn't mean a thing.
Let's go take a look for ourselves.
Look at that.
I've seen enough.
It's bad.
Monsoon will bring that whole range down into the cutting we've made. We'll never finish the road on time now.
We can't give up now, Bob. We can't.
Eddie, it's too late. The rains have started.
And what do? Just sit here? Let a landslide ruin all our work to date?
That's what we do. And then in the spring?
In the spring? That means we'll lose our contract.
We'll just have to try and get an extension, that's all.
Extension? Why, the only reason we got the contract was because we gave an early completion date. There's no other way, Eddie. That's where you're wrong. There's one way. Let me take a gang of men up there. With carefully placed Newtonic chargers, I could blast the peak and make it fall away from the road instead of into it.
You couldn't do it.
Try me.
Eddie, the seismograph shows that peak could collapse at any second. And even a small slide could cause the charge to explode while you were working on them. If you weren't blown to bits, you'll be buried alive.
I know my job.
And I know mine. And since I'm the senior partner, I say we apply for the extension.
It'll break us.
Maybe. But you'll be alive. Look, I'm not going to argue. The decision is made.
It looked like the end of their dreams. But Eddie was a stubborn guy. He decided to go it alone. So once everyone was asleep, he crept down and loaded some Newtonic charges aboard the explosives tractor. The noise of the tractor leaving disturbed Bob Gray. But by the time he had gathered his thoughts, Eddie was well on his way. They tried to contact him on the audio phone.
Hello, Eddie? Eddie, can you hear me? No word for half an hour.
You'd better try again.
Eddie, this is Bob. Call in. Call in. Oh, God. I guess we'll have to...
Hi, Bob. This is Eddie. I've planted the chargers.
Eddie! Then get out of there! That peak's cracking up! There'll be a landslide any minute!
And I guess I'd better fire the chargers now.
You'll be too close! Get away from there! You kill yourself! The company isn't worth it! Eddie! Eddie, can you hear me? He cut off! He cut off! Eddie! Eddie! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You did it! You're okay! Eddie, the carrick's in no danger now. We can see from here.
Bob, listen. The blast took my tractor right to the edge. I can't get out. If I move to the door, the thing will overbalance.
Okay, keep calm, Eddie. We're on our way.
There's worse to come. I've still got a case of Newtonic charges on board. If this goes over the edge, I'm going to be blown sky high.
Oh, boy. What a spot to be in. This was one situation the construction company wasn't equipped to handle. Time was also against them. At any second, the tractor could slip off the edge to disaster. Suddenly, Bob remembered international rescue. Within seconds, John in Thunderbird 5 had picked up the SOS.
That's right. You get the picture?
Then you can't reach the tractor because of the state of the ground?
The explosions cut the ground up so bad, we just daren't chance our weight on it.
Okay, Mr. Gray, we're on our way.
I told him we'd be there, Father. I hope I did right.
Of course you did right, son. What's that supposed to mean, anyway?
I left the name of the guy who was going to be rescued to last.
Why, who is it?
Eddie Houseman.
Eddie Houseman? Hey, Father, he knows us.
That's right, Scott. Eddie knows us.
That means we can't help? Is that what you're saying, Dad?
No, Alan.
But if we go through with this job, we're going to break our cover. And we all know how essential it is that this outfit remains secret.
What do we do? Turn this call down?
No, John, we don't turn down any call. We've done everything we could to hide our identity, but not at the risk of wasting a life. Carry on, Scott.
Yes, sir.
usual, the Thunderbird craft were standing ready on their launching pads. The nuclear engines of the machines were charged to allow up to 6 months flying time. Scott entered his machine via the moving ramp which connected the Tracy Lounge directly with the nose cone of Thunderbird 1. As the pre-launch checks were carried out, he changed into his duty uniform. Then the craft slid gently down the ramp onto the launch pad. Within a matter of seconds, Thunderbird 1 blasted up through the hole where the swimming pool had been but a few moments before and was off to the rescue area.
International rescue from Thunderbird 1. Changing to horizontal flight.
As Thunderbird 1 reached top speed, Mr. Tracy was completing his instructions to Virgil and Alan.
Okay, Virgil, that's the brief. Use the magnetic grabs. Alan can help you on this one. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Away you go. Good luck.
The enormous bulk of Thunderbird 2 dwarfs the other craft, and understandably so, as this is the freighter ship of the International Rescue Fleet. All the heavy rescue gear is stored in 6 pods in the hangar. And once Virgil has selected the required equipment, the gigantic hull of Thunderbird 2 settles over the pod, and the entire unit then proceeds to the launching ramp. So, Virgil made his way directly to the flight deck by means of the chute, again connecting the Tracy Lounge to the craft. As he did so, Alan entered the machine by means of the passenger elevator. As you all know, Thunderbird 2 is housed behind a sheer cliff face, which slides away mechanically to allow the craft onto the ramp. Virgil eased his giant charge onto the ramp, the launch procedure was carried out, and they were airborne with a deafening roar. Meanwhile, back at the camp, things were getting desperate.
International rescue. Come in, please. Nah, it's no good. I can't reach him.
Thunderbird 1, to rescue area.
Come in, Thunderbird 1. Come in.
Listen, rescue area. It'll be a few more minutes before Thunderbird 2 gets here. I'm going to try and do something about those boulders.
Okay, check. But I don't know what you can do. We were going to try and build a barrier. We haven't got the necessary gear.
Well, we have. So here goes.
Although the bulk of the rescue equipment is always carried in Thunderbird 2, Scott in Thunderbird 1 has a few emergency tricks up his sleeve. A part of his equipment includes a battery of high-tensile spear-firing tubes. He let loose a salvo, which thudded firmly into the rock face, and these acted as a protective screen against the falling boulders.
Wow! Did you see what I saw? A machine. And here comes another one.
Thunderbird 2 from Thunderbird 1. We're glad to see you, fellas. Now, here's the situation, Virgil. I've laid down a steel screen to stop any boulders from knocking the tractor over the edge. Now, lower your grabs and pick it up.
FAB, Scott. Okay, Alan. Okay, Scott. I'm coming in now.
And so, Virgil began the tricky task of maneuvering Thunderbird 2 into a canyon not much wider than his wingspan. With Scott's help, he reached a position immediately over the tractor. And then...
Hey, pull away, Virgil. Your vertical jets are tipping it over.
What are we going to do, Scott? We'll have to go in closer if we're going to make contact with the grabs.
Now, we've got to think of a way of stabilizing that tractor while the grabs are attached.
Scott, couldn't they fix a line that would hold it steady?
No, Virgil, I'm sure that's not possible. The ground near the tractor is so badly cracked that even a small increase in weight could tip that balance. Hey, wait. I've got an idea. Now, if this works, Virgil, come straight in and grab him. Stand by, Virgil.
FAB.
Now it was Scott's turn for some tricky flying. Being smaller, Thunderbird 1 was able to negotiate the canyon more easily. But Scott had to get to a position with his nose angled toward the canyon walls and underneath the precariously balanced tractor. He then held the tractor up while Virgil tried again.
Okay, Virgil, come in now. I'll take the strain.
FAB. Coming in now.
Okay, Scott. We've got it.
It looked like plain sailing from then on, but...
It's too heavy for the grabs. We're not gonna hold it.
Easy, Virgil. Take it easy. He's slipping. Oh, sorry about that. I guess I got kind of carried away.
Virgil, hold her steady. Eddie's jumping for it.
Eddie leapt onto the mountainside at the first opportunity.
Okay, Virgil, he's clear. Now get the tractor to level ground so we can get to the atomic charges.
FAB, Scott.
But now, there were only 2 grabs supporting the tractor. Virgil raced Thunderbird 2 as swiftly as possible from the scene, heading for open country. It was touch and go all the way, but he made it.
Nearly there.
We can't hold her. She's going.
The tractor finally broke free and plummeted earthwards.
You saved the road, Eddie. You saved the road.
Did I? You ask me, International Rescue did all the saving around here. I'm sure looking forward to thanking those guys.
Doesn't look as though you're gonna get a chance.
Thunderbirds were heading for home, thankful for their successfully accomplished mission, and pleased that the security of the International Rescue Organization had been maintained.
Listening to End of the Road, brought to you by Jerry Anderson with help from Century 21, the official Jerry Anderson magazine. The series was produced for Radio 5 by Christopher Aldridge. Coming up next week on Thunderbird's Sun Probe.
Well, folks, the Sun Probe has been fired. The tension here in the studio mounts as we await further news.
Sun Probe going through flare now.
Standing by to fire remote control rockets.
3, 2, 1, fire.
Please stand by for a news flash. We are going over to Colonel Benson at the Solar Control Center for an important announcement.
All efforts to alter the spaceship's course by firing their retros by radio beam from Earth have failed. Now I have a vital request to make. If International Rescue are watching, would they please communicate at once with Solar Control Center, Cape Kennedy? I repeat, this is vital. International Rescue, we need your help.
That's next Monday, ETA 8:05 on Radio 5, FAB.